Ladies and gentlemen, sapoops from all over the world, welcome back to the podcast. And today we are in the presence of Malaysia's most controversial and hopefully most successful tourist, Mr. Roman Zakirov of Roman Travels. Roman, it's an absolute honor to have you and thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on here.
The reason that we're here, actually, Roman, is kind of an interesting one. You are famous right now for many, many reasons,
I don't know if
amongst
the
which
good reasons or not, but yeah, I don't know if I'll take this kind of fame, but yeah, it's definitely been an interesting experience.
for those of you who are not really in the know just yet, so Roman is a travel YouTuber, TikToker, Instagram creator, and you create on YouTube where you make a couple of different videos, including this video right here about Malaysia's most controversial festival. And you are also on Instagram at Roman Travels underscore, and you are also on TikTok, amongst other things, where you share about your experiences of coming over to Malaysia and starting over your life from where you were in Australia. But the reason that we're talking today is misrepresentation. The title of our discussion today is The Misrepresentation of Roman Zakirov. And that has everything to do with. Oh, and here's the surprise that I have for you right now. Let me turn off my camera and I will show you. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great.
What do you got, man? What do you got?
What I got, what I got, what I got, what I got, what I
What
got,
you
what I
got?
got,
What
what I
you got?
got.
What you
Bada
got? What you
boom,
got?
bada bing.
Ah, yeah, Rain
Oh,
Rave. Yeah,
bada
nice, bro.
boom, bada
Bada bing,
bing.
bada boom.
We got that like
Topic at
for
hand. Topic at hand.
yeah, we got that for free from one of the workers after the Rain Rave, for which you have
Mm.
become an object of controversy, praise, or a range of different things. News outlets all around Malaysia have been posting these different articles here and there featuring your experiences one after another because of a video that you made a while ago. And that video is right over here. You basically shared about your experiences with the Rain Rave and everything out there. So, do you remember actually what it was like for you to make this video? And you've been doing this for quite a while, right?
Yeah, yeah. I started my content journey when I came to Malaysia, and it was like all my content, like you shared, is just me sharing my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like how it feels for me, what I go through,
Mm-hmm.
like how it is moving, when I go taste food, like it's just all from my own experience.
Right.
And that event was exactly the same. I went to the event and then I shared a little reel of the event and then put a description underneath sharing my experience. And obviously, in that, there's a lot of, clips that you can take from it. And that's what's kind of happened where
Mm-hmm.
these news outlets have clipped those, whatever I've said, without like full context. Because and I know this event is very nuanced, it's very controversial, and there's a lot behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I honestly didn't expect the reaction that I got because I thought it was more of like a cultural, back and
Yeah.
forward. I didn't really realize it was so political and so religious because, like, for me, I'm not in that world. Like, I was hardly in politics back in Australia, let alone understand politics here and what's going on here. Like, I just come here and more just sharing for entertainment and just
Uh-huh.
sharing to my audience. So yeah, so
Mm.
it was pretty crazy to
It's been
see
pretty interesting, I
what
guess.
started to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So you shared a couple of articles from a couple of different news outlets. Maybe can you walk us through what you feel are wrong with some of these articles or like these pieces that you're seeing right over here? For example, what's wrong with this? This one is from Weird Kaya. It says, didn't feel Malaysian to me. I don't know if they actually removed this from like Weird Kaya because I actually tried searching for it and I couldn't actually find it.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
I actually messaged the people just because they're oh no, that might be a different one. No, that was a different one. Different one.
mhm.
Oh, did they remove it? Did they?
Yeah, I actually tried searching this up on Weird Kaya and Weird Kaya might have actually removed it from their
Okay.
Instagram feed. I
Yeah.
think that they put this on their website, but on Instagram it is notably absent. So, Weird Kaya, if you're out there and you actually went ahead and removed this, then good on you for responsible journalism. But you can see actually right here, it's not actually there.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think it's
Mhm.
might be on their Facebook because I think it's still on their Facebook.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because that's
Where
where
I
I
saw.
found it. Because that's where like I got the most kind of it was
Mhm.
the most craziness
Right,
on
right, yeah.
Facebook. Yeah. But
So,
yeah,
mhm. Yeah, so you see a couple of these different articles right here, but is there a trend in what you feel is wrong with these articles or anything that you
yeah.
think is problematic with the way that they're portraying things?
I just feel like they're like feeding into the rage bait. Like if you go back to the first one, didn't feel
Yeah.
Malaysian, and then you have this foreigner talking about like what I think Malaysia knows. And that's what I got a lot of in the comments. Like, who are you? What do you know what Malaysia is?
Mm,
Malaysia is more than just this or that.
right, right,
And
right.
obviously, my post was very nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, people don't read obviously the article. They don't go to the next. They just see the first headline. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't reflect Malaysia's cultures.
Yeah, and we actually have like some of those comments right here. Why is an expat speaking for Malaysian culture? Did he expect us to live in tree houses? Ooga booga, hunting hit, system barker. Did you know, by the way, Roman, that you have to forgive this person because like they just didn't sleep enough in their banana trees? No, we don't
Yeah,
actually live in banana trees. Like this is a normal
yeah,
house, like this is a normal house.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you have like a whole bunch of people making these accusations right here. And how's your mental health doing? I mean, like it must be like a lot, right, for like
It's
you to
just
be
a
receiving all
lot.
of this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's doing fine, but it's been a lot too. I think it's just being attacked and seen as a
Hmm.
baboon or some idiot that has no idea about what Malaysia is. And like it's been offensive because how much I loved Malaysia and how much I enjoy the culture and how much I've experienced here and how much I've learned here. And then to
Hmm.
be so simply attacked
Hmm.
because and I also understand that is the whole rage bait. It's the internet.
Hmm.
Like I get it. But it definitely has
Yeah.
been hard to just be put into a box of like, oh, this
Mm.
is just another foreigner complaining about something they don't like, go back home. If you
Mm.
don't like it, those kind of comments. It's like, I've been living here for 9 months. I love it here. I want to stay here. I want to experience more of this. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been hard, but at the same time, I get it. It's the internet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you're doing all right. And yeah, we were just talking before this podcast about how you're recovering from your infected tooth. So I hope that's
Yeah.
going to go well as well. Now, the title that I chose actually, it kind of
Mm.
carries a sort of double meaning, right? So then it says the misrepresentation of Roman Zakirov. So then we can understand that in at least two different ways. The first might be that, well, you have been misrepresented by the media, or people may have gone on and said, hey, this guy doesn't understand our society, even if that wasn't what you really wanted to convey in the very first place, amongst other things. So that's one possible meaning. But another possible
Mhm.
meaning might be that maybe you might have in your mind, right, had a sort of different representation of what Malaysia actually is compared to what it actually is. Do you feel that this whole experience of being shamed or mocked or otherwise has kind of revealed new aspects of Malaysia to you that maybe you weren't aware of before?
Um, do you mean like like in what sense? Like the division that happens here, or like in what? Can you explain a little bit more in
Sure.
like what context?
Did you expect that maybe Malaysia was going to react in the way that it did to you? Or do you feel that maybe like what you're seeing right here is just something that you would not have expected from this country in the past?
Mm. I knew on my post there would be obviously like back and forward, people not agreeing and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like I knew that would happen because
Mm-hmm.
obviously there was already stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But for it to be, I think the thing I didn't expect is when it was clipped through the articles and the nuance got taken away, then it just created such huge division between both sides. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not only the people that are, and even people that are making it about religion and that we shouldn't have these events and that, this is bad and this is wrong. That was never my opinion.
Yeah.
I was
Mm-hmm.
just sharing an experience. So
Mm-hmm.
that was that I knew people would agree and disagree, but I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't see the intensity
Yeah.
of how intense it would be. That
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like when a person just comes into Malaysia, then they might see a lot of different things. And like you've made a lot of like great videos, I have to say. Like you've talked about, well, trying street interviews, you tried buying your first baju Melayu, you turned 40 in our country. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And you had so many different types of experiences right here. But the thing is, though, and maybe you're either fortunate or you're unfortunate for discovering this at this juncture, but I'm sorry to say this, Malaysia has a very, very strong moral outrage industry. There are people in this country who are casually declaring that this is against our values. There's a cultural
Mm.
war going on here and there, like Islamic preachers like Firdaus Wong, for example, who are just constantly like posting up. I don't know if like they even get your permission to like go ahead and like repost this stuff, but like this guy, for example,
No.
right? So he went and he took your video, and it now has, if I'm not wrong, about 100K plus
Oh my
views at this
God.
stage.
Yeah, this
Yeah, look
is
at this. It's like literally like 4,300 likes right here, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. But you didn't really know that this like moral outrage industry existed before this, I guess.
no, not like I said, like I always share what I share.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether, and I just thought this would be another piece of content
Mm-hmm.
that I would share. And I obviously, like I said, I'm not an idiot. I knew it would be controversial and people would
Right,
have
right.
their opinions, but I didn't know it would be so politicized and used
Mm,
as a weapon for each side. So there's people that are, we need to move forward. They're weaponizing this and saying this is
mm,
ridiculous. We're weaponizing my video to say how stupid this is. And then that other side that want to weaponize it and keep the religious and culture and all that are weaponizing that. And I'm stuck in the middle of both of those. And
mm.
for me, those opinions don't matter. Like I'm not against one or the other. I'm here as a foreigner. I like those things don't impact me. So I wasn't
Right.
coming from that experience. And to see that being weaponized, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't want you to get into like too much controversy, but I will ask you a direct question right now.
Yeah.
From this experience, do you regret coming to Malaysia?
No, definitely not. Definitely
Okay.
not.
Mhm.
Honestly, like I said, it's the internet. I know that's not what
Right.
Malaysia is. Like it's very controversial topic. It's very hot, like
Right.
understand. So it doesn't
Mm,
obviously affect how I see Malaysia or Malaysians or anything like
mm,
that. Any part of the world where something's sensitive, you're
mm.
gonna get the extremes of it all. So I get that. It
I see.
just I didn't expect to be stuck in the middle of it.
But Roman, I have to say this. The reason actually that I wanted to talk to you is because I respect what you did, bro. You know
Hmm.
why I respect what you did? Because it would be very possible for you to just zip your lips and then just be all like, you know what? Like, this is what they want to say. They want to make me famous. I won't say anything about it. But you didn't do that. Like, you pushed back, bro. Like, you actually went out there and you tried to correct the narrative. You've done it not just on Instagram, right? Where you take part in these kinds of like discussions where you are casually making posts here and there and everywhere. I believe that you were doing it on Facebook as well, right? Like, how many
Yeah,
comments have you written in the past like couple of days, man?
yeah, a lot, a lot, a lot, a
You've been,
lot.
you've been writing a lot of these, right? I think like
Yeah,
there's one on Weird Kaya as well. So then
yeah,
like I don't know like if it was actually like this particular post right here, but I remember actually seeing, yeah, there you go. Okay,
yeah,
like 271 reactions. You like there's 29 reactions right over here.
yeah.
And you see actually like all these people just like having this cultural war right over there.
Mm.
But the point is, you push back. And the fact that you push back, I think, is extraordinary because you could have just gone with the flow. You could have just let people go ahead and characterize you and then pick a side. Some people say that it's moral policing or whatever. You could have just
Mm.
ridden on that wave, but you didn't. Why? Why would you push back in the first place?
Because that's the whole point, is that was not my intention.
Right.
And I think for me, integrity is important to be seen as, or because yeah, I could, and that's what some people say, oh, he's just doing it to get followers. Like if I really wanted, I could pick a site and really push it and really gain a huge following. But that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm literally just sharing my experience. That's what I have always done, and that's what I always want to do, to just share my experience. It's not to tell anyone else how to live or what to think or what to do. This is me living here, sharing my experience. And if people connect with that, great. If people don't, that's fine. But yeah, I could have jumped on any side, but I honestly don't have a side because I do see like both sides have their fair point, and I see why people are upset on this side, and I see
Mm-hmm.
why people are upset on this side. But like I said, I'm a foreigner, I'm a tourist living here. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
those things aren't going to impact me because I can enjoy both of those things no matter what happens here.
Right. Yeah, you can. Absolutely. And I think that that's a point that maybe a lot of people just miss, right? Like they expect you as a tourist, right, to offer like solutions even to like all the problems that Malaysia has as a society. Like naturally, every single society has its own problems. I think that Australia has its own
Oh,
problems as well. You move
oh,
over from Australia to Malaysia because of the cost of living and also because Malaysia, if I'm not wrong, has no capital gains tax, right, amongst other things.
yeah.
And then amongst other things, like you've been going around sort of like experiencing this culture here and there. But in some ways, right? Like I'm curious, what made you choose Malaysia in the very first place, apart from no capital gains tax?
Yeah. Because that was the original why I started looking to move overseas,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
to find something that's more affordable. And honestly, because I'm much older, like I'm in my 40s, so
Yeah.
I did my party days. I've had all of that when I was younger. So I was looking something for more stable, something more relaxed, something more slow paced. And
Mm-hmm.
I looked at other Southeast Asian countries, but nothing resonated with me. But when I would look at Malaysia, there was something that was just appalling that said, you need to go here because I've never visited here, I've never been here, I
Appalling is
didn't
such an
know
interesting word.
anything about it. And it honestly was just like, you need to be here. And from day one, when I arrived, I just felt like home.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah, and that was there wasn't like a specific thing. There was not one thing. It was more of a feeling. And that's my whole content. I share my experiences, my feelings, because it comes from within. It's not like something externally that
Mm-hmm.
created me to go or done anything like that. So yeah, that's just yeah, and it seems a little bit crazy, I know, like just to go off, oh, this feels right, I'm just gonna go here.
Mm-hmm. Right. I guess people do whatever they do. Sometimes people come up with an explanation for why they did what they did, only after the fact. So I wouldn't judge your choice. I think that that's one great way to go out there and discover a brand new society. And I hope that you've had a good time here. Now, I'm curious. Now, I want to get it directly from you, right? So you were saying that, well, the Rain Rave didn't represent the Malaysia that you had come to know before this.
Mm-hmm.
What was the Malaysia that you had come to know? And I know that, of course, like, some people might say, like, this guy's only been here for like 9 months. Like, what could he possibly know about Malaysia? But what is the Malaysia that you've come to know by this point?
It is for me because, like I said, I've experienced a lot more cultural stuff. So like
Right.
the
Mm-hmm.
culture, the people, the food, the atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
here. Because like I said, been to the Deepavali, so it's like experiencing that culture, Chinese New Year,
Mm-hmm.
the Sarong Festival, the Madurka. So I've experienced like I've been to a Malaysian wedding. So
Mm-hmm.
like those things for me is what I associate Malaysia with. That's
Mm-hmm.
my association. It's like the culture, the
Mm-hmm.
food, the diversity.
Mm.
the calmness, the relaxed vibe here,
Right.
like the not drinking, because like even back in Australia, I didn't drink a lot. And for me, that
Right,
was a
right.
big part that I like that the culture here is not about drinking. It's about food. People go out and sit at a mamak and eat, where in Australia, they go sit at bars. And that's what
Yeah.
is normal in Australia, where I like that about here, where people go out and it's families and
Uh,
people hanging out together and doing all those things. So that's what I associate Malaysia with, like
uh,
nature, like that kind of beauty, going out
mm,
shopping malls and experiencing different shops and like those things that I fell in love with when I
mm.
came.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I guess maybe the Rain Rave might not have resonated with you because maybe you didn't really feel like it resonated with your ideal or like your sense of what a culture might sort of like bring up in your mind when you think about like Malaysia.
Yeah, and it's not even like it's more, I don't feel that Malaysia needs to be this. It's like
Mm.
and that's what I think people missed is that that's how I feel about Malaysia. I
Right, right,
don't
right.
think everyone should feel that way about Malaysia or that
Mm,
that's how they should see it.
mm,
And I'm not saying that there's nothing else here in Malaysia that I know
mm,
there's a nightlife here and people go out and people do drink and some Malaysians do eat pork like this. There's a whole range
mm.
of diversity in how people live in Malaysia.
That's true.
But
Yeah,
what for me, what I connected and why I fell in love with is those things.
I
And that's
see.
why when I went to the rave didn't feel aligned for me. Not I'm saying
Mm,
it shouldn't feel aligned with Malaysia.
mm.
And that's what I think people miss that I'm saying, oh, it doesn't align with Malaysia. No,
It
like
can,
who
I
am I
guess.
to say? For some people, it does align with Malaysia.
Uh-huh.
But for me, what I fell in love with and what my experience has been here for 9 months, that didn't align for me as an
Right.
experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's what people missed in saying, well, there's diversity in Malaysia. And I agree. And I
Mm,
think that's what really got missed in translation and taken out of context that I'm saying that
mm.
we shouldn't have this and this is bad. Who am I to say?
Right, yeah. It's about personal preferences, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, this is actually something interesting. I've been asking people on YouTube and also on Facebook,
Mm.
what they think Malaysian culture is. And like, there's a whole range of different kinds of responses. But I'm gonna ask you if you know this particular word that is very resonant with Malaysian culture. I'm gonna say this to you right now. It is Malaysian culture to kepochi. Do you know what kepochi means?
No, I don't. I've never heard of it. It's the first time I'm hearing it.
Gepochi means to mind other people's business. Like they say,
Ah,
mind
so
your own business. In Malaysia, it is natural to go and mind other people's business.
okay.
It's so interesting. Like we have
Wow.
such a judgy culture out there. And when you say you didn't expect this from Malaysia, I have to tell you, honestly, like even it came to me as a shock, like somebody who comes up from like childhood, right? Like they are raised to expect this idea of Malaysia as a harmonious society where there is not this kind of fighting, but like there is this kind of thing. In Malay, you might say jaga tepi kain orang lain. Do you know what that means? Do you know any Malay at all?
No, 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 I don't.
Oh my
I just know
gosh.
like makan, sedap, like just basic, all around food. I know anything
Okay.
around food, I'm good, but anything else, no.
Okay, it's fine. Like, you're white, you say makan, and they'll give you 10,000 likes. No, 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 I'm kidding, I'm kidding. What?
Hey, 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 hey.
All right. Okay, cool. But yeah, so like that is something that I do respect. I mean, like unfortunately, right? Like this is like maybe one of the dark side sometimes of Malaysian culture, which I would say is unfortunate that like maybe you learn at this juncture that we tend to not mind our own business. And I guess like you can say that in some ways, right? That comes from like a good place because people want to maintain their own world, so to speak. But at the same time, there is something to be said about protecting diversity. And how do you navigate that tension really between being able to protect your own culture And then at the same time also maintaining diversity because Malaysia as a country is an agglomeration of different cultures. Really, we are a mix, you know, and it's very hard for you to even say what Malaysian culture is, which is why I'm now going to ask you, what do you think Malaysian culture is?
What do I think Malaysian culture is?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Like for me, it's just diverse. Like that's what I see it as.
Uh-huh.
Like it's diversity, people, and again, people living in harmony. No one lives truly in harmony. Like everyone,
Hmm.
like you said, has their complications and tensions within the community when you have so many people living together.
Hmm.
So like, how do you define it in like just as one thing?
Hmm.
Like there's many aspects that creates it. Like the people living together, the food, the atmosphere that's here,
Hmm.
the traditions, the heritage that's here. But there's so many, it's a mixing pot.
Hmm. Right, yeah. And like, you know, when I discuss this, I tend to like having like operational definitions. There's a definition from the Google AI overview. Oh gosh, we're gonna get canceled for using AI here. But there's this whole definition of culture as a shared way of life for a group of
Mm,
people, so to speak. When you see people saying that Rain Rave is not our culture kind of thing,
mm.
so then like what's your reaction to that when you see people say that like, hey, this is not our culture? How will you then respond to
Yeah, but
a particular
again, that's like again because it is so diverse and how people see what culture is for them.
mm,
Like to them, like that's what I said, understand how they perceive that as it's not our culture.
mm-hmm,
Like I understand from their point of view, from their lived experience, from how they have lived and how they see
mm-hmm.
Malaysia, it doesn't feel like that's their culture.
Right, right.
And someone that has a completely different experience that lives in Malaysia
Mm,
sees culture for Malaysia in a completely different way. So for them, it aligns to them that this is Rain Rave is their culture and it is normal. And that's why there is such division
mm,
between different people because they live differently in the same country. And that's why it's like so
mm,
crazy now with it all and
mm.
political.
Right, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think that's really something for a lot of people to think about. And we are in this place where, you know, the culture is constantly evolving. But at the same time, it also makes me remember something that I read on Facebook. I know, like, totally such a wonderful source of
Yeah, of
information.
course. It's the
Facebook.
best.
It said that diversity is not an advantage, but rather the management of diversity and being
Mm.
able to reconcile differences is an advantage. And I find that to be super interesting. But I will say though, it is kind of interesting to see the way that people are just constantly trying to make other people be like them, to try to get people to assimilate into their way of life. One of the either positive or negative aspects of living in Malaysia, for example, might be that if you're a Malaysian citizen, then people would say, why aren't you speaking in Malay? And like they may come up to you with this like very entitled expression, and they might say, mengaku orang Malaysia tetapi tidak cakap bahasa Melayu. You say that you're a Malaysian, but you don't speak Malay, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Which is weird because like, you know, somehow or another, you know, like you're able to speak multiple languages. People see that as a diverse thing. You look at like investment brochures about Malaysia and they talk about diversity, but yet you see all these people doing that stuff. And I would say that you're not immune either. And let me prove it to you. Right over here on your TikTok, you can see that people are actively trying to convert you.
Mm.
Yep, that is what is happening. They're actively trying to convert you.
Yeah.
Would you like to convert?
I've spoken about this. Like, if I would marry a Malay, I would convert.
You will convert. Okay. So
Yeah.
so you're
If
not
I
like
marry a Malay, I would have no issues converting.
you would have no issues converting. Okay, sure. I mean like yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, but I guess like there is that instinct to want to have people adopt a certain way of life. In fact, like there was actually a book that we had to read in high school. It was called Aku Chris dan Kristal, and like a lot of like Malaysian students may know about it. It's basically a story about how the moral of the story is that well, these people cannot date, and at the end of the day, it is because of their religious differences. One fine day, then after the time skip, the guy comes back and he converts. and that's the end of story. I don't I don't know, man. Like I feel like people really just gotta learn to live, to let live.
Yeah, but I think it's not black and white. And I think that's what
Yeah.
a lot of people are trying to make life. Life is not black and white. It's not this or that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why this, I see it's nuanced. It's not like we can't have this, we only got to have that. But it's like, how
Mm,
do you try to bring those polarizing opinions closer together so there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that to
mm,
trying to make it work for everyone? Because I also understand there's a lot of events here in Malaysia that excludes other cultures or other
mm,
religions or other people that don't get to participate. So that's what I said. I understand their point of view because they're like, well, we get to experience this. So like, but it's like, how do you bring more of people together
mm,
on an event like this that is sponsored by Tourism Malaysia, that is promoted by
mm,
Malaysia and it's seen globally? It's like, and that's what I was sharing in my other videos. Like, how do you bring all of those together on a world stage to really show the diversity, the colors, the festivities, the
mm,
aliveness, the smiles. That's what I've fallen in love with. But also with the modern music and some fun and aliveness and energy. So it's not just about
mm,
cultural dances, because I know sometimes that's not the most fun for a lot of people either. Like
mm,
to just have cultural dances. Like I know that's not always going to bring younger tourists or attract something vibrant, but it's like, why not have both where like there's cultural performances, but also modern music by artists and
mm,
like that it brings a festivity for a weekend that
mm,
celebrates the diversity of here in Malaysia
mm.
instead of separating them all and celebrating
Ah.
like I said, Chinese New Year and then Deepavali and then you got Hari Raya and all Sarong Festival. It's like, what if there was like a festival of bringing all of those together where people actually experience? Because some people can't experience Chinese New Year, but it's bloody amazing. Like to see the
Mm,
colors and the lighting and the line dances that
mm.
people get to experience. And the same as like the Sarong Festival. That was
I see.
controversial for some people because they're like, oh, it's too modern and we're losing all of that. But that was so much fun. There was younger people there. People got around. There was music. It was
Mm,
like it just felt vibrant and alive. And that's what I love about that you can experience so much here. And
right.
that's what kind of I see. It's like, how do you try to bring those things, especially on such a big thing that's being promoted by Malaysia?
Absolutely. Well, you might have spoken about this before, but I will go right ahead and ask you about this. But if you look at the brochure and the program actually for the Rain Rave, like you might see that
Yeah.
actually the very first set of events was basically a set of cultural dances. If you actually look at some of the video footage right over here, you can actually see that they did have this sort of like cultural dance, right? So in a
Yeah.
way, do you feel that maybe they were trying to do what you were suggesting, which was to basically showcase maybe these cultural dancers on
Of
an international
course.
stage? You feel that maybe that's the thing? So
Of course.
is the question kind of like about balance? Do you feel that maybe like they got the ratio wrong, or like how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I just think like because it's just such extremes. Again, you've got like these cultural slow dances during the day, and then you've got these
Mm.
crazy rave that's it just overshadows everything else. Like when do you
Oh, I see.
like do you scroll through social media and associate Rain Rave with a cultural dance, or do you associate it with a rave? So that cultural thing just feels
I
like it
see.
gets completely lost. And
I
that's
see.
why, like, I see that it was happening, but it completely, for me, again, this is from my experience and what
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
see online, it just
Yeah, yeah.
gets overshadowed by the such like
Mm,
complete opposite. And that's what I
mm,
see. I feel like they're complete opposites, like this
mm,
cultural thing and then a rave. Like it's hard to bring them together because they're
mm.
polarizing. But it's like, how do you bring the modern, newer that are closer, that can be blended and people can still enjoy and have fun?
Damn. Datuk Sri Tiong King Sing, here we have your new ambassador for Tourism Malaysia. I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Make us both ambassadors.
Please, oh
No, I'm
my
kidding, I'm
God.
kidding, I'm kidding, 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 kidding,
God,
kidding.
please, you're gonna kill me.
No, but thank you so much, Roman, for your perspective. I appreciate that you're so forthright in sharing your experiences. And hopefully, this conversation has been helping people to kind of like take away a little bit more about what you experience and why you're saying what you're saying as well. And right now, we could say that you are a guest in our country. And I want to pay respect to that. As somebody who is experiencing our society, who is immersing himself in it, and who is taking the time, the effort, the energy to appreciate it and share it with the world. I want to thank you personally as a citizen of Malaysia for doing that. And I do want to ask you as well, for the foreseeable future and from your time in Malaysia, what do you hope for? What do you wish for? What are some things that you actually envision coming out from your time in Malaysia? Are you looking to stay here for like the very long term? I may or may not have seen you comment in response to someone saying that, hey, like, you might consider getting married here as well. We don't know if that's going to be happening, but what do you hope for or envision from your time in Malaysia and from your content creating journey?
Yeah, awesome. And thank you for the welcome and and that's what I love about Malaysia, that people hospitality and people so welcoming here. But for me, like I I don't have like I'm just trying to get by at the moment. But
Mm,
if everything aligned and if I could stay here, if I met a local girl here, I would be happily to get married here. Like I see myself having Malaysia as my home if everything aligns and everything works. Because I'm in a position at the moment, like things are uncertain. I'm just getting by. It's difficult at the moment. I'm just trying to do my best. But like if I was in a position, yes, I would definitely get married here. I would settle down. I see like Malaysia as a easy place as a foreigner to assimilate to.
mm,
Like I found it very easy to be here, to live here, to explore, and then you've got the rest of Southeast Asia. And I see this as a hub for me, like
mm,
where I can settle down and go and experience and explore other parts of Southeast Asia and Malaysia. Like there's so much
mm,
to explore in Malaysia. And I definitely do see potential for me to stay here long term.
mm. That's amazing. Cool. Wonderful. And because I know that this is going to be a question that people are going to be asking you at some
Mm.
later point, what is your favorite Malaysian food?
Ah. Well, first, when I arrived, it was nasi lemak, but mine has over. I think nasi karibu is the most underrated dish here in
Ah,
Malaysia.
I
So
see.
nasi karibu.
Okay. Then what's one Malaysian dish that you maybe might give a pass?
What's it called? Durian.
Damn. Minus 5,000 followers. I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Anyway, Roman Zakirov, thank you so much for popping by on the podcast, and it was an honor to speak to you. Do you have any words of inspiration or advice or like thoughts that you might want to share with the world, maybe to other travelers out there, or about your experience, like what to say, what not to say, or anything else out there to the world? Yeah. Your eternal wisdom, please, sir.
Eternal wisdom. Interesting questions. I don't know. What would it be? I think not to see the world in black and white, just what I'm going through. I think things aren't simple as black and white, and to try to see like the other person's point of view, why they're saying what they're saying or why they're doing what they're doing. They're not doing it for no reason. They've lived something and they have beliefs and systems and try to understand them. And that's what as I'm going through this, as much as it doesn't feel good, but at the same time, I understand why people are saying what they're saying and
Mm,
doing what they're doing. And that's why I can be here and not let affect my experience being here because I'm not taking it personal. Like what people say and what people do is not personal to me. It's
mm.
their own experience. So like not to take things too hard and to take things personally and live a simpler life.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Roman. That is indeed eternal wisdom. And I really appreciate your taking the time. I hope that you'll have a wonderful continued time in Malaysia. And I look forward to meeting you one day.
Yeah, and thank you so much for this. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.